Ever wonder what tech leaders would say if they had no prep and no redos?
Welcome to Humans of Tech. I'm Caroline.
And I'm Kelly. We're keeping humans at the center of technology through quick, authentic conversations with people shaping the industry.
Got 3 rules: no prep, no editing, and 1 live random question our guest never sees coming.
All right. I'm going to show how it's done before we get on. So I'm putting all the questions. They come from my little Ziploc bag in my desk. No, I don't have just a bowl at my desk waiting. But these are all the questions.
You need to upgrade. I do have a bowl.
I know. And it's funny because I feel like I keep saying, oh, we pick a question randomly at a fishbowl. It's never been a fishbowl, guys. Like yours is a fishbowl.
Actually, we only have a minute. I was going to say, I wanted to hear about the book you're reading that I saw you post about.
Well, yes, I have not put it down. It's called Building a Story Brand. And like pretty much what it does is it takes you through branding as if you're like telling a story. And in movies, they follow this whole format of 7 framework to, get people interested in it. And like the one I have like sticky notes everywhere on that. I'm like, I can't give people my books after I read them because I literally scribble all over them. But the one thing says like customers are attracted to us for the same reason heroes are pulled into stories. They want to solve a problem that has in big or small ways disrupted their peaceful life. And so it's so interesting because I think like in branding, everything's in your face is like, we're going to solve your problem, drink this poppy and you're gonna have a great day. It's like, no, you have to position the actual customer as the hero, not your brand. So anyway, that was
I'm curious to see once you end the book, because I feel like those books that talk about branding, most salespeople shy away from because they think it's person's job. Seth, oh my goodness. Hello.
Hi,
It's been a minute. Hi, Kelly.
The last time I saw you in person, and I think it's been like 5 years, 6 years.
I know I had to look it up on LinkedIn. I mean, when did we actually meet and in what circumstance? But yeah, it's like 2019 and you were at another vendor. So yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been a while. It's been a ride. And I know you've changed roles. When Kelly realized where you're working, she was like geeked.
I was excited. I was like, wow. This is the best.
Totally. I mean, I didn't realize this until much later in my life that like every major sport is headquartered in New York, U.S. sport. And so, I was at baseball for 5 years. I was at soccer. I'm at soccer now. And who knew I could work in sports? I mean, it's so cool if you're a sports fan.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm a Phillies fan. I'm from Pennsylvania. So originally Phillies. I still stick with the PA teams. I am an Eagles fan through and through. But
nice.
Yeah, huge.
Well,
huge.
I will point out last night the Yankees did finally beat the Phillies, so I'm happy about that.
They did. Yes, my dad was texting me about it.
Not one of the questions we're supposed to ask, but then do you follow the job because of the sport in particular, or do you love all sports?
I mean, I'm definitely a sports fan, and the fact that your end product is a sport, and I think that's what attracts me the most. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a huge soccer fan before I got here, but now that I'm here, I get to see, how the sausage is made, if you will. And I just got back from the All-Star. I'm flexing my little logo here.
Yeah, you are.
And it's just so exciting to actually be at a live sport and know that your technology has something to do with it.
Yeah, Caroline, do you want to introduce our guest?
Let him introduce himself.
Okay,
First, a little background as to who you are.
Yeah, sure. So thanks for having me. I am thrilled to be here, and I would lead off though, Caroline. It's like I accepted this, and I did this because I just we barely know each other. We met like a few times in real life, but every time I see you online, whatever, you just so much positivity, and I just love that about you. And this is Humans of Tech, so kudos to that. And Kelly, obviously, we're just getting to know each other, so appreciate that as well. So I've been doing this a long time. I've always been doing networking. Came out of college when networking was just started. Like people, I mean, literally, like it was just a thing. A new thing. And so I was a hands-on guy, worked at the financials, as in my New York, as one's prone to do. You go hit Wall Street for a little bit. And so I did that. I got the entrepreneurial bug, and so I went out and I worked for a VAR for a bit. So I went from the client side to the VAR, and then I started my own VAR and had that for about 10 years. Sort of a lead tech guy at that VAR. Wound up selling that, and then going to the vendor, the OEM side, which you guys are familiar with.
I work at a bar technically too. So Caroline and I, that's how we
Oh,
met.
all right. I
But
didn't
go.
realize that. I didn't realize that. Oh, cool. And so yeah, went to Navarre, the OEM, and I went to Arista for 10 years, I mean for 5 years or so. And it was that was a proper salesperson. I was an AE, so this is making the jump, going to the dark side, as people had said.
Don't you call it the dark side.
No, as you'll see, I mean, I'm a huge fan of salespeople, and I think they really get underrated outside of sales organizations who, all love salespeople. I really think it's an underrated skill. I'm now, and anyway, so I'll just finish that. So I did Arista for a while, and then I knew somebody who reached out and said, "Hey, do you know anybody who can run the network at Major League Baseball?" And eventually I was like, wait a sec, I think I can. And so I didn't know you could work at baseball. And so I jumped over there, did that for about 4 or 5 years. And then the last 3 years, I've been at Major League Soccer also as VP of Network Infrastructure. So I run the network there. So that is a long-winded explanation of my past. But it's a long past. So I'm, you have to give me some.
Hopefully you have a longer past to talk about in the future, right?
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
All right. Should we pull the random question? We have one more after, because I just want to talk to you for a little after. I have a question myself, but
I could hear her this morning when we were chatting. She was like, "Oh my gosh, you won't guess who I'm talking to tonight. Tonight's the day." Sorry.
Okay. This is a great one. What's one risk you took in your career that completely paid off?
Okay. So let me give you a second there. I mean, I guess I took a lot of risks, but as I mentioned, I've definitely moved around. I'm sort of a 3 to 5 year person, and I'm okay to say that out loud. I love coming into a place that's a bit of a mess or just has a lot of challenges, and then trying to assess it for a while and then trying to fix it. And then eventually I get bored. And so, I started working for a major bank. I could have been there forever. I could have, climbed the chain, whatever, and done my career on that side. And so in that sense, it was safe, right? I was pretty much at every company I was at, I could have stayed there forever. And so I guess the risk is really saying, you know what, like, let's start over somewhere else because you got to know who you are. And I know I'm someone who just gets bored. And so I just kept jumping around, my VAR, I was there for 10 years, maybe a little bit too long, honestly, but it took a while to sell it. Who knew? But we did. And so that was cool. But, I left that. I mean, it sort of fell into a lifestyle business, and there's nothing wrong with lifestyle businesses, and you can just basically do that for the rest of your life and have a really healthy work, life.
All right. What does lifestyle business mean?
So it just means that, it's, I'm not gonna say it's a 9 to 5er, but it's a 9 to 5er. Like you can just like work and then you make, good living, but you're not
off and you can go on with your night.
Totally. And there's nothing wrong with that, and maybe within your life, there's stages where you want to do that. But for me, I just knew that wasn't who I was, and I just wanted to keep getting challenged and more challenged. And so I really wanted to, take that risk, and it's paid off. I mean, everywhere I've been, I've had success, and more like personal success, like I really enjoyed my time there. Again, towards the end of each place, I kind of probably just got bored a little bit and before I decided to move on. But yeah, so I think that's the risk, don't be afraid of making a jump. I think a lot of people, certainly previous generations say you got to stay with the company for a long time. I think we've gotten beyond that now. I think our generations, well, we're probably not in the same generation, but Gen X, Y, Z, gens, realize that you're not going to be there, probably be somewhere for your whole life. But you don't have to be there for 10 years either. You can bounce around, and it does. I interview people all the time. I hire people all the time. I don't look at anybody who's been somewhere for, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years as that, and that's not a bad thing. Maybe every 3 months you're jumping around, maybe some flags are being raised, but take the risk. And so, I mean, I have, and it's worked out for me.
And then what gave you kind of the confidence to jump from like your bank to be like, all right, I can be this person to jump into baseball. Like I'm going to apply. Like what did that look like for you?
Yeah, so your confidence is a big part of it, and I think because I started so early in networking, I really was like sort of the leading edge. I'm one of the earliest CCIEs, if I may flex there as well, and 1674 for those keeping score. And as a result, I knew more than most people in networking. And so once I knew that, then I was really confident in my technical ability. So that was a real luxury, especially when I got into sales and I became a technical person selling as opposed to a salesperson trying to learn some tech. That also gave me a tremendous amount of confidence. Now, but it doesn't always work that way. Like back to the sales thing, like, when I was a technical person, it sort of, sometimes I was too technical, and salespeople don't have to be technical at all. It just depends on the role and the client, honestly. And you guys know this, if you go from a client, there are technical clients who love talking tech. And then there are clients who just have no interest in talking to tech because, they have tech people or whatever. And you have to play the more traditional sales role. And so it really depends, you got to know who you are.
I'm sure the 53 recommendations you have on
Yeah.
help to your confidence. We were baffled. Like, how does one get that? You have to be incredible to
Right.
have.
Yeah, I use that. If you're going to jump around a lot, you better have some good recommendations. And so, I mean, I'm sure you guys use LinkedIn a lot. I'm blown away by LinkedIn, and I was, I'm around a long time before it existed. I don't know what we did before LinkedIn, especially as you look for jobs, and humans of tech, right? We are. At the end of the day, we're humans, and I think almost all of my jobs is because I knew somebody, and mostly, you understand who you know through LinkedIn. And so, every time I moved on, it's kind of awkward to ask for a recommendation while you're at a job because people are saying, "Ooh, you're looking to move around." But here's what I encourage everybody to do is to, when you do leave, as you're leaving, just reach out. It's very simple, and just ask for a bunch of recommendations from people at that job. I mean, you should always be doing it, but it's kind of hard when you're at a job because they think you're leaving, and then your boss, who you're linked in with, sees that you're getting recommendations and so on. So you don't want to do it while you're there. But and that's all I did. So I just reached out to everybody I knew. I didn't reach out to people who disliked me. It's all, it's like an Instagram. I mean, only people, and so I use that. It's on my resume. When I look around for jobs, I say, oh, and by the way, notice my 53 recommendations.
No, that's incredible. And the one thing that stood out amongst all of them was like that you're technically skilled, obviously, you're in a job because of that, but your leadership and like how you're a supportive leader. So like how do you balance both of those things with the team? I mean, across the board, that's kind of what the theme I saw in those recommendations.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was an athlete when I was a kid. I was a runner. I was a captain. So I don't know how you get the leadership gene. My mom was a leader, maybe. I really don't know, but I know my style is to listen. And I listen as a leader. I listened as a salesperson, and despite the fact that we're doing a podcast and I'm talking, I much more enjoy listening, including all your podcasts, by the way. And so I do enjoy listening. And so you find out where your people are. I mean, I love mentoring people, especially as I get to, we'll call it the back nine of my career. I love bringing in these kids, in quotes, kids again, younger generation, and seeing where they're at and where they want to go, and help guiding them there. I was never a big managing up person. Obviously you have to make sure your boss is happy with what you do, but I love managing down, and really seeing, trying to help these people, get a break, or get to the next level, because we all had those people who helped us when we were younger. And so I want to be that person. I really enjoy doing that.
I love that.
I think a lot of so I sense a theme. One is the problem solving theme. You sort of take that into your work, right? What brings you joy is being able to find something messy and fix it, but also into kind of your personal life and how you're giving back in the world as well. Like how do we help fix people's perceived problems so that they can get ahead too, right? You can look at that from a network perspective or from a personal perspective. And the other one is just understanding. And I think it stems from understanding yourself, which is how you end up keeping yourself happy. You understand that, you're going to get bored every couple of years. So you're going to go need to find something else, and you're not afraid to own that and actually make the jump. And I see a lot of people who are so scared of understanding that component themselves so that they can make the jump, and they end up stuck in scenarios that they aren't happy with out of fear. And that kind of also goes back to the network component, right? You got to understand what's wrong with it in order to be able to fix it. So
I have one more question, because I just like when I think of, MLS and MLB, I think of like the goals and the replays and like that tech side, like how that can happen. But really what you're working with is the invisible tech behind the scenes that actually makes the replays happen and the game go on. So like, what's something behind the scenes that like has to go right? I know there's a lot, but like, in order.
Yeah, sure. In networking, as we know, nobody outside of tech cares about networking except when it doesn't work. And they're not like, yeah, I want a great network. And then they just want a network that doesn't break. And so, talk about invisible, again, some tech people who understand it, and hopefully your tech management understands it. But networking is one of those things that's not user facing other than when it doesn't work. Wi-Fi is always supposed to work, wired is always supposed to work. And so I guess after every game, or everything we do in sports, just back up a little bit. Like the sports are all sort of the same. They have 30 so teams. They all connect back to the league office, and each team has their own network, which the league isn't really involved in, but there's a lot of interaction between the team and the league. And so I'm with the league here. I was at the league with baseball. And so we connect all 30-ish teams back to, data centers, redundant data centers and such, typical networking stuff, so that the league can get all the data they can out of the venue. And now that tech has moved, especially in TV tech, has moved to an IP solution, where you're actually all your broadcasts and stuff can go over IP instead of this old school video. There's more dependence on a more traditional IP Ethernet network, and so that part is so exciting. And I guess as I'm talking, I'm thinking that's probably one of the invisible things. If you guys are old enough to remember, phones used to be completely different. There used to be PBXs, and you have to pick up a phone. It had nothing to do with networking. It was a completely separate network that eventually merged together, and now we have no one even know everything's IP and Ethernet for phones, right? And so video now, TV video is actually doing that now, and it's really complex. There's a massive industry around video that has nothing to do with IP and Ethernet. And so as they transition over to IP and Ethernet, there's a massive tech transition. But at the end of the day, the viewer doesn't know how much flexibility that gives broadcasters. So now they can broadcast from everywhere. COVID was kind of the impetus to get people to finally jump over, because they were very afraid to move over to tech. Because you can't have the broadcast fail, right? If your email goes down for 30 seconds, it's not the end of the world, but you can't have the broadcast go down. So anyway, so that transition is happening, and has happened across the broadcast industry.
That in college, I had to do a presentation, and it was like my last business course, and we had to create a product that didn't exist, and present the whole plan as to the go-to-market strategy and all that. And back then, I had the luxury of being able to travel a lot in college. And so I was very averse to Skype. I knew what Skype was, because when I went abroad, I would log onto the internet and I'd call home via Skype.
Sure.
So my presentation in college was I grabbed a phone, and I put the Skype logo on there, and I said, how amazing is if we could talk via video but on our phones, because that didn't exist.
Totally.
I didn't win, Seth. I didn't win because I got second place, because it was a great idea, but unrealistic was the unrealistic.
That's hysterical. Just one more tech like that. I was just in Austin, for the All-Stars, I said, and I got my first Waymo, a first automated driver, whatever it's called. I was blown away, and I had a car with all the tech for a while, and I was in the car and it was driving me all around Austin on highways and or maybe not highways, but
Were you
certainly
alone or were you with
no,
someone?
I was with somebody on my team, and it was so cool. I couldn't believe it. I'm just so fascinated by the tech that's involved there. And we've all heard about this tech, but it is there. It is live. It's I know a few cities. People are like, yeah, of course, Seth. If you're in San Francisco or Austin, everybody knows this, but it hasn't come to New York yet. But when it does, oh my goodness, that's crazy. But if someone presented that in college, yeah, like, yeah, what are we, the Jetsons? I mean, this is not going to happen. But it's
Yeah.
it's happening. It's so cool.
I was just at Zara yesterday shopping. I have an upcoming Greece trip, and they were like, we don't have anyone checking anyone out. Just drop everything in the bin, swipe your card, and it took like I didn't have to scan all the things. I just dropped it in the tin. It almost looked like an undermount sink. It just swiped it all. I swiped my card and I got out. Like I was like, if only it could fold it for me and put it in the bag, but maybe next.
Or ask you a question like, do you really need to buy this right now?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Pulse check. Are you
Yeah.
okay?
I love that. Well, I think this is a good point to stop. Actually, I will share one more story. My first job, Seth, out of college that I didn't take the job. I had an internship, was for the Orlando Magic. And so I did intern there for a semester in sales. And I will say there is something uniquely different about working for a sports team. The energy and the excitement and the rah-rah is something that you don't get, extra hop. Love you guys. But like different, different sort of excitement when you work in something like that. It's wild. So
It is, in the league on the league level, you get it for different reasons, you get it for tech initiatives that you've achieved, but you can't be rah-rah, we have to love all our children, as they say. And so, but we get to experience when people win, and through social media and internal notes, whatever, you see how much passion is when they do win. And you have owners flying everybody to the big game, whatever that game may be. And back office people, like people, who would never think they'd be traveling somewhere. If you get these owners who want to spend money, it's so, and the videos of them on the plane going to, the Super Bowl or the World Series or whatever it may be, really cool. I totally agree with you.
cool. Well, we will stop the recording here.
But stay on because we're gonna just keep chatting.
Do a post-mortem.
Oh yeah, no. It always looks like this. It's like that was so good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Seth.
For sure, for sure. And best of luck on this podcast journey. I mean, it's so cool. I mean, and you got to have some guts to do this. You put yourself out there, I was watching one of one of the videos recently when you guys admitted you had just met in person for the first time, which is just fascinating to me. I mean, again, it goes back to that tech that, it's really changed the world. I mean, this never would have happened 5 years ago. I mean, you just never met.
Never.
Never. And the reason this all got started, there were a couple, right? One was we really wanted to work on our personal brands on LinkedIn. I was searching, internally for a more meaning in general workspace, and I love connecting with people, and I thought this could be a cool thing. Kelly was just getting
I was coming from the construction world, renovation design world to cybersecurity, working for Blackwood where I'm at now. And I was just like, I need to show that like I'm a human outside of like the sales rep with quotas, because I entered sales and I was like, whoa, I'm like salespeople are everywhere. This is really, really, but it's like that's why we kind of started this, was to do something different for different industry. So anyway.
Yeah.
It's been very personally rewarding. And then it's also been kind of it's interesting because a lot of people stop things. And we were told early on by someone else who has a podcast in kind of the public sector space. He does a great job in the West Coast. He was like, just get to 100 episodes. Don't stop. It's going to suck, but like try and get to 100 episodes. And we're like, you know what? And so now it's been 2 years and we've gotten to meet so many incredible people, and you get so many interesting nuggets from, and it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But it's love it.
No, exactly. And you don't have to know, right? If you're enjoying it, and it is the toil, there's toil with everything, and you got to get through that, right? As we know, I mean, people, oh, I love my job. Well, there's shit in every job, as we know, right? And, and you got to do it. But this seems really cool. But I would go back to the sales thing, especially for Kelly, if you're relatively new to that.
Yeah. I'm on the marketing side. I actually left because now I'm like, I need to lead the brand, and now I'm leading the marketing brand at Blackwood where I'm at. But I made the jump from sales back to marketing because I was like, I need to be on with people. I just can't meet them on LinkedIn, get a meeting set after 6 months, and then just pass it off to the outside rep. Like a lot of people can do that, but that's not in my blood. And I was like, I have to do something different.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I would actually ask you guys, like, so I was sales. I mean, as I said, a full-time salesperson at Arista. But this is pre-COVID, and Arista was this rocket ship, and getting meetings were just so easy. Everybody wanted to talk to us, and it was fantastic, and absolutely loved it. My territory, if you guys know New York, I know Caroline, you do. I had south of 42nd Street. That was my territory. Like ridiculous. I mean, there's like there's like 50 zip codes or whatever, 20 zip codes, and usually you get one zip code. I had south of 42nd, which includes Wall Street. Anyway, it was early days. And so it was so fun. But how did COVID change the sales experience? Like I can't imagine having every interaction on Zoom. I know we're coming back now, but like, are they all Zoom based?
Everything was Zoom based. We're starting to come back, and this is where I find LinkedIn to have been the key, because if you're using it properly, if you're actually using it to build relationships versus just like spamming people, I've been able to get meetings with people that even pre-COVID wouldn't have given me the time of day, just because they see what I'm doing. I interact with what they're doing, and it creates a very different funnel for conversation and depth if used properly.
Yeah.
But
I would like, I mean, before people just kind of like LinkedIn email you, or you can see people like, 3,000 likes on, a practitioner, I would say, is like post. And it's like, go a little further, like put your thoughts into the comments and like interact with them, because they did that post for a reason. And that show, like that whole mindset for me was like key. And I was like, I just show up as if I'm Kelly. Like, I'm not selling you anything. Yes, you're a VAR, so you can kind of sell multiple different solutions, but it's just, if you approach it the right way, I mean, I think it's a rocket ship.
No, totally. And as a vendor who's a buyer, I should call, I'm a buyer now. I get inundated by a lot of those people. And I'm echoing what you just said. Like, I will not respond to these. First of all, I don't accept like everybody. If I don't know why you're trying to connect to me, I don't accept. And part of it is maybe I don't know. Should I accept everybody who's in networking? I mean, is there a reason to do that? I suppose, but I still don't do that because I always. I mean, inevitably there's salespeople who want to sell me something. But if they craft something interesting and make, it's just anything, that's not a form, and obviously we have AI, you can talk about that forever, like, and they can just generate some stuff, then just, I'm just not doing it, and meetings, in-person meetings, I normally take one, if they want to do it, if they're in New York or whatever. But I don't do anything after that. Like, I don't want to go out, and I mean, I like to go out, but I don't like to go out with vendors, but you do wind up picking people that you have a relationship that that you actually like at the end of the day. The old cliche in sales is people buy from people they like. And they're the salespeople who can sell ice to Eskimos. I was kind of alluding to that earlier. Like, I'm not one of those people. Like, I cannot sell to everybody, but I do love working with people I like. And I'm okay. If we don't get along, I just accept it. All right, well, listen, our personalities don't gel. I'm not meek. I have opinions, and I'm a New Yorker, and so I'm not going to get along with everybody, but I love, so continuing what you guys are doing online, especially, like, again, I took this meeting because I like your presence online, and Caroline, I liked our interactions early on. I remembered you, even though I don't think we did business. I think it was Silver Peak. Yeah, I think when we met, I didn't want to say that online to piss the Extra Hop people off. But you did have a career prior to the Extra Hop. But I do remember those interactions. They were cool. You just had enthusiasm. And who the hell wants to, hey, can you buy something? You'd be blown away how bad salespeople are. Why are you in this industry? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're not good.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Anyway, sorry. I went on.
Thank you Thanks for hanging out with us on Humans of Tech.
Subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, or LinkedIn, and join the conversation.
Oh, and don't forget, you can now shop our store. Check the link on the show notes.